Hello, in this video I'm going to explain how to take 10-0 nylon sutures in the cornea. So I'm going to explain the number, the length, direction, depth and technique of taking these sutures. So let's look at the limbus of this eyeball. If we are having a wound at this size, how are we going to fashion the sutures? The first suture is going to be taken in the middle of the wound, and it has to be perpendicular on the limbus and equidistant from it. The length of the suture determines the width of the wound that is going to be closed by it. Now we are having two spaces to be closed. So we are going to take multiple sutures with the proper length, direction and spacing to close the wound. And so, this wound can be closed with 5 sutures with the proper direction, length and spacing. But what will happen if a suture was taken not perpendicular to the limbus? At this condition, improper traction, striations and astigmatism will result. And if we fashion shorter sutures, we will need a larger number to close this wound. And to understand the technique of taking these sutures, you have to know that the needle is of a spatula type with 2 cutting edges on the sides. The needle has to be held at the junction between the posterior 1/3 and the anterior 2/3. The direction of the needle on entering the cornea has to be perpendicular on the corneal surface to take about 80% of the depth of the corneal tissue. The direction of forces from the surgeon's hand must be in a circular manner and coming from rotating his wrist and not from pushing into the corneal tissue. The nylon suture is a monofilament smooth one, so we have to take 3-1-1 throws while making the knots. And now let's see the technique. The needle is passed perpendicular to the corneal surface, taking about 80% of the corneal tissue and not a full thickness depth. Then it is pulled on the other side behind the tip in order not to make it blunt. Always keep the end of the suture in front of you. And wash any remnants of viscoelastic material. Take the first 3 throws around the McPherson forceps. Hold the suture at its tip and pull it to the opposite side to titrate the tension. And lock the knot by making traction on both ends of the suture in the same direction. Take 1 throw and tie it perpendicular to the first knot. The second knot can also titrate the tightness of the suture. And then the last 1 throw. Cut the suture near the knot and embed the knot in the surrounding tissue. Taking 10-0 sutures with the proper spacing, depth, length and direction needs lots of training in the wet lab. Keep training and you will reach the proper technique. Thanks a lot for watching.